Oh, this episode of Cinema Swirl was brought to you with the support of our backers over at patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. And hey, it's summer bonding, so guess what? In July on the Patreon, Reverse Swirl will be making its return as we watch A Quantum of Solace. Yes, a bit more Daniel Craig Bond, here we go. That's to come in July, plus there's 54 episodes and counting of Cinema Swirl over at patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. If you want to find out more, check it out. Right, let's get swirling.
Cinema Swirl! Cornish splits are a bun, O Devon. It's episode number 107. Coming to you from the bakery of Hollywood, California, taking out all the bespoke pasties that aren't allowed to be made anywhere else in the country. It's me, your old pal, Captain Kevin, joined alongside, as I am always, by my OTP, who's only seen 106 movies until this point, Sam Chaplin.
Hello, hi.
How you doing today, Sam?
I'm good, and I fancy a Cornish split, if you know what I mean. Yes, please.
Yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds like a banana split made with clotted cream instead. It sounds good.
It feels like an injury to me. I've had a real Cornish split.
Oh, I've shown the Cornish split. Oh no, Dad.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, excited for some summer bonding, and oh boy, does it feel like summer at the moment.
It's certainly summer, and it is so hot. If this bonding was a covalent bond, it would probably break because the energy, it's too hot is what I'm saying.
It's really hot, yeah.
Historically speaking, always makes for a very legible, clear, standard, normal episode of Cinema Swirl.
Yeah, for listeners at home, we're not yet in tops off territory, but I'm not ruling it out at this stage.
I let the listeners know at home I didn't realise that was an option, and I feel like if I was to start the change now, it's going to happen between the 2 points of this podcast. Is what's going to happen.
I think however the tops are when we start recording is how they remain, but there can be a decision made at some point.
Yeah, exactly. There's a break. This is the only podcast I do where that's allowed, where there is a defined break. And you may not think, we watch a movie, yes, but we also decide whether or not to take off our tops. That is part of the process. When that music is going on, think about it. If you start changing all that do-do, it's pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
You change the keys around, it could be do-do, which is the English national stripping theme.
Yes.
You may not know this.
Yeah.
It's what that is. Sam, summer bonding can mean only one thing. The man himself, the man of the hour, Britain's favourite export besides other people's imports, it is James Bond.
Yes, yeah. Bond's back on the menu, baby. A bit more Bond, bit of British Bond, best of British Bond. Yes, please.
And you took the term bit more Bond very literally because you were offered, the listeners of Cinema Swirl, the Cinema Swirl fan base was given quite a veritable smorgasbord board of all different types of Bonds.
Yeah.
All new Bonds that you've not had before. This one bespoke Lazenby Bond that is interesting. I've heard about this. Or another big dirty helping of dirty old Sean Connery, all dead that he is.
There was some Dalton offered as well. There's a bit of Dalton.
A little bit of Dalton, which I found out some people tweeted in to say Dalton is the definitive Bond in their mind.
Right. Well, I look forward to next year maybe finding that out.
Another try, maybe another try next time around, huh?
The vote was quite close. It was especially close on Twitter. We're now not splitting the vote, but having the vote take place across two different social media sites.
Yes. We think having two benign, toxic social media influences on the podcast is better than one. You're spreading it out that way, you'll get better quicker.
Exactly. Sure, eventually we'll be doing it on bluesky.social, but not yet, guys. Not yet.
Guys, if you want to head over to Hive, follow Cinema Swirl on there. Those votes will be counted and tabulated as well.
Yes, after I reinstall the app. So the vote was very, very close on Twitter. There was like a point of a percentage point in it. You know what I mean? A point,
Whoa!
something like that. It was very close between Living Daylights and You Only Live Twice. It was further apart on Facebook, but there was definitely an appetite for Dalton, less so for Lazenby, I have to say. But for Dalton, there was some real interest and some real support behind him. And I thought maybe that was a case where we could treat it as an advisory vote and just ignore.
I'm always intrigued by this because I do believe sometimes there's a very clear hearts and minds distinction between Twitter and Facebook sometimes. But I feel like there is maybe just different audiences within our audience spread across those platforms. Not the same taste there. I would say Dalton is be an interesting one. And I was thinking he was going to win it. I was thinking that maybe the guy that we've spoken about twice already and have had to skirt around the fact that he was a woman beater in his time and all that jazz, who I can tell you right now, spoiler, will be doing yellowface in this movie, that maybe he wouldn't get invited back in, you know? Like, it's like, oh, do you want to bring your horrible misogynistic uncle to the party? He'll be doing some extra racist bits as well. Oh, all right then. I don't want Timothy Dalton to come, though. That would be weird if he came to my party. Let's bring him instead. Yeah.
But Kevin, what you've got to remember, and I think this has unfortunately happened with a few, it's fortunately happened with a few actors, but it's happened with Sean Connery as well. He's become part of the family, and you can't, he's kind of invited now.
That was his dying wish, wasn't it? He's like, when I die, I want to become part of all of your families. And they, against my express wishes, because I felt that he had been thoroughly cancelled, they uploaded him into the cloud when he died. And I thought that was a very, very foolish mistake indeed. Short-sighted.
Now Sean Connery is just on all of our wireless devices, which is really troubling.
Every time I log in, I have to press cancel on the download. Oh no, it's ringing my mum. Stop.
But we're back with more Connery Bond. I mean, Kevin, I don't know realistically how much more there is to say about what I can imagine is in store for this film. I can have some fun with the title, but
you had fun with previous Connery Bonds, right? Because we did have, I think it was From Russia with Love was the last one we did with old Shawnee Connie, and it is that very classic, original style of Bond. I feel it is the most cliche-ridden Bond in many ways, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
But maybe it's the purest Bond. Who knows? Maybe that's Bond in its essence.
All I'll tell you is that Joe the intern, as soon as she found out that this was the movie du jour, she wanted to watch it because she said it is her favourite Bond, asterisk, while accepting that there are elements of this that were presented back in the day.
Yeah.
And with the disclaimer that will come up, the disclaimer comes up, we're like, hi, I'm sorry that we cast Kevin Spacey in this thing. It was a different time.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yeah. But with that in mind, if we consider that as well, it's Joe the intern's favourite Bond.
Favourite Bond.
Favourite Bond. Okay.
She told me she's seen it 50 times.
Wow.
I know.
Right. Is Joe sort of the opposite of me?
Yeah, every movie that you've seen once, she's seen 50 times. And that's why our new podcast where I show her movies for the 51st time, I really think is going to resonate with the audience.
Yeah. She's definitely the opposite of Michael Owen, and that's not a compliment I hand out lightly,
AKA Sam's evil tulpa, Michael Owen. What if the man loved footy instead of his mates? Now, Sam, have we got any other business before I can delve into that mailbag?
Well, we can have some speculation as to what happens in this film.
I mean, You Only Live Twice is, I would say that's an advisory title in many respects. I mean, I'm not planning on living twice, Right. I feel it'd be very laissez-faire attitude if I know that I could do life again tomorrow.
I've got two theories as to what happens here.
Okay.
One, bold choice, James Bond fucking dies. Like, bang, dead.
You open Bond with him doing his walk on do bang. Oh
no!
Yeah,
he gets shot.
I've been shot.
He doesn't shoot us. We, the viewer, shoot back and kill that bastard. And he's down. And then, through some kind of chicanery, he's brought back and he gets a chance to redeem himself. and all of his terrible ways.
Yeah.
And gets a second chance, and you only live twice. The other thing is that, I don't know, he joins Second Life or something and has a kind of there's like a virtual Bond, and he's like, I've got my life, and I've also got this second life.
I'm a digital landlord on Second Life. I love the administration, the minutiae, the detail. I love it all.
Hey guys, check. I can't do the. It's because it's.
I'm not gonna lie. Me speaking there was just an invite to hear more of that.
Yeah,
more of that, please.
I'm trying to say, hey guys, check this out in Sean Connery's voice. It's really hard. Oh, hey guys, check this out. There you go. Sean Connery there, everyone.
It's Sean Connery, ladies and gentlemen, as played by Sam Chaplin.
Playing the game Second Life and showing it to all of his friends, including M and Moneypenny.
No wonder nothing gets done in MI6. They're all dossing on Second Life. Oh, that's probably stopping terrorist attacks happening in Second Life as well. Imagine that, that's stressful.
Yeah. Also, maybe he is a spy in Second Life as well. Like, it's not.
Sam, that'd be like if I was in Second Life and I was a podcaster. That would be boring. Second Life. I'm going to go in there and be a baker or something like that, like in the intro.
All right. Other than that, I mean, you mentioned that he does yellowface in this.
I'm not going to ask you to speculate on the context of him being racist, Here's my question with regards to that. Do you think it's a life or death situation where it's like, I'm sorry, Bond, I know it's culturally insensitive, but you got to yellow up for England or whatever it is? Or is it like, actually, no, today I believe I will don the mantle of the racist?
I think he's doing it when he gets the call to do the mission. That's like his
always come prepared.
Life. Yeah. Okay.
That's all he could do back in the 60s before Second Life, is that you could just, be a racist in your downtime, live another life, walk a mile in another man's shoes.
You're right, Kevin. The game of guess the racism is probably not the most fun feature we can introduce to cinema.
No, it's not. No.
No. But I don't know locations. I don't know Bond girls. I don't know villains in this case. So
we've had some pretty down-to-earth Bond, and we've had some, for lack of a better term, quite loopy, crazy Bond.
Yeah, we've had some mad shit.
So are you expecting this to be like gritty spy realism, or are you expecting an over-the-top caper? Keep in mind, this is Connery's last go as his original run of Bond, I believe. I'll let you know that much in advance.
Okay, interesting. So it's sort of a swan song of sorts. My perception with Connery is that it's not Roger Moore level daft, but it's not Daniel Craig level grit.
Yeah, because From Russia with Love was damn gritty. Gritty, I say.
Yeah. So maybe I'll get some grit with this, but there's going to be some quips, some lines, and some silliness, I'm sure. Yeah, look, it's Sean Connery, it's James Bond. You only live twice. There's no clue to From Russia with Love. I'm like, well, they're probably going to go to Russia. From this, I've got not much to go on, really.
Yeah, when you're working with the metaphorical there, it is quite difficult, isn't it? Do you know the theme song? Would you hazard a guess at a theme for, I'm going to try and say this as non-melodic as possible, which is difficult with my accent, You Only Live Twice.
You only live twice. You only live twice.
All right, I see what you've done there.
You are living twice. You're living twice. Living twice. You're living twice. You're living twice. Live and let twice. I don't know. I don't know what the theme is. Is it a famous theme?
I mean, I think it is, but maybe it's because it's one of my favourite ones.
Okay. Do I know the artist?
No, but I think you'll recognise the little musical twingle at the start of it.
Okay.
Sorry for the technical terms used here. I know musicians may not get that.
They brought in a twingle player.
I know.
Yeah.
Thought they were outlawed.
Wow. No, I don't know the theme. I'm pretty stumped with this. I don't know what's happening.
Give me a gadget prediction.
What have we had before? I mean, there'll be a watch with a bomb in it, a car with...
Watch with a bomb in it?
A car with water pistols in the wing mirrors. I mean...
That'll stop those hoodlums from stealing my hubcaps.
So I've seen
And you pump it up on the indicator, like.
I've seen I've seen the poster for the vote, so I know he's in a kind of little mini copter type gimmick, like a little personal vehicle. I think not
Personal
like a
vehicle?
jetpack, but like a little, like if helicopters were cars,
Yes.
he's in a smart car. Right, he's in like a little dinky one that you can fit in. You can fit
So
two
a
helicopters.
smart copter is what you're telling
Smart
me.
copter, yeah, you can fit two of them on the helipad. Is what I would say with this copter. It's only dinky.
It's for when you're helicoptering around a city,
Yeah.
you want to be able to get a parking space easily. You can do it on a lowercase h when you land this helicopter, you see. It's more ergonomically designed.
You wouldn't fly over the M1 with it, but for nip into the shops, it's fine. It's a surprisingly capacious boot.
So you reckon that Bond's going to be zipping about in his personal vehicle in this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Good gadget. Good gadget.
Is that a gadget or a vehicle? But
If a vehicle becomes small enough, it officially becomes a gadget.
Yeah.
If it goes the other way around, if a gadget becomes big enough, it becomes a boy's toy.
yes.
Or a toy for big boys.
We've had the glasses that show everyone in their pants, haven't we? I think
we have.
we've had that. I mean, where do you go from there?
I mean,
AI
that is really
probably
the
is
ultimate,
next
isn't it?
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm seeing your circulatory system.
Yeah, you can't. It's like it's Robbie Williams Rock DJ, the video for that. He takes his trousers off, he takes his shirt off, he takes his pants off. And then we don't need the rest where he becomes a skeleton.
I don't want skin,
DJ.
DJ. He does. And you know what's really annoying? Me and Joe, the aforementioned Robbie Williams
Yes.
looky-likey,
Yeah.
didn't even take off his fucking skin.
No?
I know. Oh, is it too hot for you to take off your skin? Robbie would have done that.
Did he remove any clothes?
He didn't.
No.
He didn't. And no, his ill-fitting trousers going down round there doesn't count. I'm just saying, if Putin and the oligarchs were like, "Oi, Robbie, come out of your cage and take off your skin," he'd be like, "I'm not doing that." And then Steven Seagal and Fred Durst like, "We'll do it. We'll take off our skin." And Robbie's like, "No, I'll do it. I'll take off my musculature as well."
Yeah.
And he's just a pile of lymph nodes in league with the Russians. No shame on him.
Yeah. So James Bond in pile of lymph nodes in league with the Russians.
There we go,
There we
baby.
go,
With
ready.
love.
Yes.
And now it's time to delve into the double O bag license to mail in at cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Welcome to the mailbag. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Welcome to the mailbag. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us on the mailbag.
Thank you.
Our first message here comes in via email from Adam, who writes the following. Good day, lads. Just read that John Carpenter has plans for a perhaps long-awaited sequel to The Thing. Given the unexpected nature of this happening, I was wondering, are there any films, swirl or swill, that either of you would like to see given an unexpected or maybe even unnecessary sequel? Perhaps a movie that left a few too many loose ends, or one you loved or hated so much you just want more. Happy swirling. Adam. Kevin, thoughts?
Yeah, unquestionably, because I've thought about it at least once a week since we recorded the episode. I want a sequel to 2010. I want 3010, The Final Odyssey, with the dinosaur butlers, all that jazz.
Yeah.
I need to see someone interpret it because I think it would be so, not upsetting, but so like, wait, what? Like, it could literally change the course of how humankind views cinema because it will have so much peculiarity around it. I can't help but think it would impact on 2001: A Space Odyssey and its mantle as being like the greatest movie ever in so many people's minds. I think it would literally disrupt the history of cinema. Not because it's bad, but just like dinosaur butlers, what? That's my pick.
Okay, what I would say is that I think, honestly, it's been enough time for one more sequel to Dumb and Dumber. I think Dumb and Dumber 3... we'd fucking watch it, is what would happen. Like, if the lads gave it one last go and thought, which country can we steal some money off for this one?
Singapore's right by Malaysia, and it's got a heck of a lot more money to it. Just saying, doors open, boys.
But in this age of the streaming platform, and
Anything's a goer, right?
anything could happen, you know? There's a full Monty series coming out.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Have you seen the full Monty?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, oh, man. I think a bit of a best of British swirl. I think we need to do that because I know you want to watch Sex Lives of the Potato Men over on Patreon, and I think that would be a fair...
Since day
fair
one,
gambit.
I've been... and Danny Dyer's Run for Your Wife is another one that I've wanted to watch. But, you know, Bend It Like Beckham keeps coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
Full Monty, you know, some big best of British.
Football Factory!
I'm just having a look through the list of Swirl films here, trying to see if any of these would deserve a sequel. I mean, Les Miserables 2.
Yeah, it's going to be, all my friends are still dead. And, you know, other people are sitting in the chairs and tables, so they're not technically empty now, but I'm still quite sad about it, you know. I feel like there's a lot of scope for, you know, like there's a lot of scope, surely, for a sequel to A Big Lebowski at this point. I'll never forget when they let it rumble just enough that there might be something, and it was a fucking Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe the time has passed on that, but we're living in unprecedented times, because I think most people who are involved in all the movies that we've done, give or take one or two, most of them will probably be all right with letting like AI technology render them on a blank slate.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because people probably think, oh, Peter Cushing wouldn't want that. He did it, you know,
Yeah.
because his family loves money. And I think that everyone who we have seen, like Good, the Bad, the Ugly 2, when Clint Eastwood's in the ground, you tell me that the kids aren't going to come for another payday? Come on.
Yeah.
Easy. It's like 5 lines of code, tops.
So two things here. One is that you've made me very depressed realising that probably the venue for a Dumb and Dumber threequel would be a Super Bowl ad. I think that's almost bound to happen at this stage.
Honestly, Super Bowl ads are so high profile, I think it's kind of like, it's not at that level, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's not like you might get like Dumb and Dumber advertising crypto or whatever if like Jim Carrey gets stood in for another crime or whatever it is he has to pay out.
Did you see the Breaking Bad Pop Chips one?
I did.
It felt like a fucking deep fake, but apparently it's actually real.
It
Like,
was. I
they
watched
filmed it.
making of behind the scenes and everything. So,
Oh God. Yeah.
But you know, you come to expect these things. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just sick and tired of the stranglehold that Pop Chips has on our media and our culture.
Let me just say that ad wasn't a touchdown, but to use a football term there.
Oh, very good.
The other thing is that, you know, Adam, for what it's worth, I think Kevin's right that in the future we'll just have sequels to everything because we can just make them with our AI buttons that we'll have in our houses. We'll just sort of feed in the films that we like and then we get sequels. And
I would
combos.
much rather have a haunted sequel using AI-generated versions of the dead actors than another fucking reboot. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
You know? And I want you on as well. A little side note. People shit all over it and they didn't give it its fair time. But I think there's a lot to be said about the revamp of The Thing that was technically sort of a prequel that came out 10 or so years ago.
Okay.
It's not as bad as you people think. And while we're at it, the RoboCop revamp was all right as well. You know,
All right.
if you find yourself in some sort of a draconian society where watching the original RoboCop is outlawed and
Then-
you can only watch the remake, it's not bad. It's good.
But I didn't know about The Thing too, so I'm excited about Thing
It's
too.
called The Thing brackets 2000 and fucking something.
Oh, right, okay. So thank you, Adam, for that message. Our next message here comes in from Michael, who writes the following. Kevin's recent throaty rendition of Tom Waits' Nighthawks at the Diner / Night Hobbs at the Diner during the Neverending Story episode has got me wondering about a couple of things. Kevin has famously evolved beyond a need for music in his life, so where does his love of Tom Waits come from? That's question one.
The spoken word CD that comes in the digital deluxe version of most of his later albums.
Right.
I just listened to that. Listened to him talking about vultures being stuck up in the air, spinning around in circles, just wondering, how the hell am I going to get down there?
I think it's
Too
always
many feathers.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
It's always good to come back to this idea that you don't partake in music anymore in your life.
I don't need music like some freak.
But
I'm going to listen to music because I'm Miles Morales. Are you? Grow up. Raise your families. Stop listening to music.
Kevin just listens to sound effects now, of course, as we know. But
I did. I got sound effect records coming out the wazoo. Joe bought me a great one, which was all the themes that were used for one-off sporting events on the BBC in the 70s.
that's amazing.
20 seconds of the fucking Pan Am Games. Done. Never heard again.
Right. When was the last time you listened to music? Not theme music or video game soundtracks, but music of a band that you like or an artist that you like Tom Waits. Can you recall the last time that happened?
Where I'm going to put on like an album or a record or whatever it may be.
Yeah. This is fascinating because you've been to gigs of bands. I know that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see Devo in for their last ever tour. Be all right. I don't really care. Like, it'd be fine, you know. Yeah, it'll be grand.
But you won't pop on the record just for a little spin before the gig, just to kind of refresh your memory.
Then the moments when, like, actually, I'll tell you something that will probably be the most recent, which is I love going to karaoke. Me and Joe do love a karaoke in Manchester, Chinatown. We've got a spot, but that's more like, that's not really listening, is it? That's singing. It's not really the same thing, is it? But
it's the difference between like watching football on the telly and playing five-a-side. You know,
or playing FIFA more likely, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And also, actually, speaking of that as well, I got Joe the ABBA SingStar game for Christmas this year.
Right.
So we listened to a lot of ABBA.
Yeah.
Because we really, really wanted to get, the gold and all of those, and it was hard because there's a lot of the less popular ABBA songs on there that we really had to muscle through.
Yes.
Really hard. So that's the most recent music I've listened to because I wasn't confident on certain ABBA songs, so I'd listen to Joe sing those.
Right.
So, but that's how ABBA would have wanted,
Yeah.
Midnight on Christmas Day, your wife full of Christmas dinner and Christmas mirth singing, "Here's to us, one more drink and then we'll split the bill." That great ABBA song that everyone loves.
ABBA are great. Look, Kevin's gone beyond the need for music regularly in his life, and we must respect his choices. So,
what happened last Saturday? I woke up a little bit early, I put on the Earthworm Jim soundtrack.
It's all soundtrack.
And I got downstairs cleaned before I remembered that Doug Tenopol's a fucking freak.
Okay.
And I probably shouldn't own that anymore.
Oh no.
But that's it though, you do it, you get nice and fast at it then, don't you? Like, hurry up.
Yeah.
All the bad facts are coming to get you. No.
Just a side note, Kevin always does his due diligence on anything we're going to discuss on the show. And we're not going to mention what the thing was, but Kevin just types in whatever the thing is plus the word controversy.
Yes.
And quite often, something comes up and we decide not
it
a
works.
thing to chat about.
It works.
Yeah, it does work.
Across all podcasts, it works.
Yes. So Michael had a second question related to Tom Waits, which was, would you consider a Tom Waits themed swirl or swill of some of the movies that he has appeared in? May I suggest
that's self-indulgent.
Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, Jim Jarmusch's
Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Coffee and Cigarettes, or Terry Gilliam's Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
No fucking way, man.
Famously Heath Ledger's final film.
Yeah, movie so fucking bad. Oh my God, so bad.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's likely a no on the Tom Waits.
No, because it's a character actor. We can't have it has to be a leading man or a leading woman to be a themed vote.
Yeah.
Can't be theming votes around bit part players, at least not until we hit episode 200.
Okay. So, Michael, you might have to wait, but it may still come down the line when we've run out of it. When I've watched all the films, we'll get to some of Tom Waits' classics. All right. Well, I think that just about does it for the mailbag. Sorry. Nothing is fine.
What?
I don't know. I'm just still thinking about the fact that you don't listen to music and it just blows my mind every fucking time. It's unimaginable to me. But the soundtracks are music. That's
No, I understand why people like to listen to music, because you like to, like, you know, something that's familiar and you're not going to get let down by it. Like,
yeah.
oh, Blur came out of Glastonbury. What did they play? All the Blur songs.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Who says that we're living in unprecedented times? Huh? Blur out there doing best of Blur on Glastonbury. Huh?
I went to see them at Wolverhampton and they played all the songs and it was nice.
Was it precedented?
Absolutely, yeah. There was
There you
precedent
go.
for it. It really, really could happen because it really, really has happened.
Exactly. I couldn't judge, Sam. I couldn't dare
No.
to judge. They don't tend to play the music I listen to live.
Right, yeah.
But if they do, you better believe I'm getting a lot of Street Pass hits with that take. Oh my God, the Zelda concert? Fuck me. Jesus.
Right. Thank you for all your messages into cinemaswirl@gmail.com. If you've got more, send them there.
cinemaswirl@gmail.com. But for now, it's time to get our PP7, or disregard for most of other people's cultures, and also some high-octane, Daltonless, Lazenby-less action.
Yep.
It's time, Sam, to go do a Sean Connery Bond summer bonding cinema swirl. And we're hot. We're incredibly hot, and it's warmer than when we started. Who'd
Hey.
have thought? Actually, no. You only have 2 gut reactions. So
Oh, good.
your
Okay.
initial 2 gut reactions to "You only eat mice," he said to the pet snake.
That's very very fortunate that you said I'd get 2 initial gut reactions. Okay, initial gut reaction 1, like this is like main initial gut reaction.
Okay.
Let's give it a clean take. Oh, go on then. That's that's IGR 1. IGR 2 is na 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 football. Na 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 England.
And in the case of England, you only scored twice. Way! But of course, when England came up against Real Madrid,
Yeah.
the 11th man on the pitch was too much for them.
Yeah. Oh, go on then. Oh,
I feel
go
we
on
need
then.
to not use the term second initial gut reaction, because I feel the pedants will come for us. That's the subsequent gut reaction, isn't
Okay.
it? Let's call it
The
what it is.
SGR. Subsequent good reaction is a footy chant. We kick balls direct in your goal. It's, because it's the Robbie Williams one, isn't
yes.
it? It's the Robbie
Very
Williams
good.
one. It's the Millennium
Very
one.
good.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on then.
It probably falls upon me now to ask you, you've seen Austin Powers, right? I'm pretty sure we had this chat during The Love Grew over on
Yes.
the Patreon page.
I've seen at least 1 Austin Powers, if not 2. I don't know if I've seen the whole trilogy, but I've probably 1 and 2, I reckon.
So, were you seeing because I feel like if there was a single Bond movie that was parodied the most, this seems to contain most of the 60s Bond parody elements, if that makes sense.
Yes, there are, and we'll go through them when we get to them, a couple of like reference points where I've seen stuff from this quite directly taken by other things to kind of
Some of the
parody them.
music feels like directly lifted as well.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Should we just say that it is, I know you said, but it is very, very hot.
It is, and I think our fans want an update vis-a-vis the tops. What's going on.
Okay.
I've sweated through my top since watching the movie.
Yep.
So now I'm wearing a second lighter top with 2 buttons undone at the top, because no one can see me right now.
Yeah.
Except for Sam Chaplin, that is. So that is where I'm at. I'm also not wearing any shoes or socks or
Yeah.
slippers or flip-flops, which really makes me think this should be behind the paywall, this episode.
Well,
I feel we should be charging more. Like, I don't quite understand why, but I feel I should.
I didn't know we were going to be getting into bottoms, all right, because I'm not sure. I'm willing to disclose what the situation is below where you can see. But up top, a top is on, but it's a vest, which I've discovered is different from a sleeveless tee. I've gone
How
vest.
did you not know that?
Well,
like, come on.
It's all the same, isn't it? If there's no sleeves, it's a vest.
Really?
Across the board. If you haven't got sleeves, you're wearing a vest. That's my guarantee.
Right, and we'll just get all the businessmen who wear vests underneath their shirts and double-breasted suits to wear sleeveless T-shirts underneath there, shall we?
Same thing. Same
Fuck 'em.
category. Yeah.
Fuck
'em.
Now, look, I come prepared as well. I've got a very hot cup of tea with me.
Which right, listeners at home, and Kevin with me now.
Hello.
Why does that make sense? It does.
It doesn't.
That's hot liquid going into a hot body, which will make you more hot, surely.
I
right?
mean, all I have is ancient Irish wisdom of old people I knew growing up going, I want tea. It's a hot day. Give me a cup of really hot tea.
Hot tea. Yeah.
It's better because there's no soup, obviously. So, we'll go with the next best thing. Now, I'll tell you, this is a situation where I was a little tired and I thought I could use the pep of caffeine.
Yep.
I've had 2 cups of coffee, so I went with a hot tea. Not had the time to chill that down. And nor do I believe that is a good use of my time or energy to try and cool down a hot cup of tea.
Sure.
So I've just got a hot cup of tea, all right? Deal with it.
Yeah. So are you going to be drinking it now, or are you going to wait for it to cool?
It's so hot, it's making my very hot computer seem normal by comparison.
Right.
Like, it's literally scalding to the touch, and I have quite a high threshold for hot drinks.
Yeah.
I'd knock back a soup like a cold drink, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. You knock back hot drinks like they're cold drinks.
Yeah, I'd knock back a hot soup like it was a cold soup, you know?
Yes, yeah. But it sounds like you've surrounded yourself with hot things on a hot day. Maybe not entirely deliberately, but some of it is absolutely your choice.
I will say is the ring light is not on. So
No.
because I don't think anyone could deal with the shine of this level of hotness and a ring light on top of it as well. I am already emanating a glow of pure fire.
Okay, well, with that in mind, and not to sound like we're rushing through this at all, because we're going to give you a thorough review,
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll get into what happens here, and I've got a question for you right off the bat. Has Sean Connery, as James Bond, always had the funny little hat in the intro? Because I am starting
It's so
to
funny.
doubt
I couldn't
myself as to whether...
stop laughing.
Is that new since we last saw Sean?
It wasn't there the last time.
Surely not.
Because we watched his second one, and then this
Yeah.
is his last one of this crop. He comes back later on. So maybe I'm thinking that this is a way to kind of, zhuzh it up.
Yeah.
Sean is a little bit jaded in this role. Let's be honest, it's a fun movie, but you could see the look on his face that seemed to say, I'm really over this. Through much... He looked like Duncan Bannatyne in season 4 of Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
Utterly done and a bit like Sean Connery. And a bit sweaty as well.
Already 1 foot out the door is the kind of thing. Yeah. And
He has his hat on like Bond. If he didn't have to turn and shoot you, he would have kept on walking and gone to the next thing, like.
it seemed very much like the lad at my school who wore a fedora one day, got absolutely ridiculed, and then we never saw it again. I wonder if this just pops up for this.
See, then you never saw him again. Like, that was the end of him. Like. I feel like if Bond was to come back with a hat,
Yeah.
I feel like we'd all need to come together as one and bully him so he would never do it again, And I honestly, there's a lot of chat going on, a lot of kind of fake controversy in my mind to drum up engagement. People talk about, are we ready for like an actor like Idris Elba to become Bond? Like maybe, change it up or whatever. I'm like, absolutely we are. But we're not ready to go back to Bond with a hat. Those days are over, and I'll be dead in my grave before the woke mind virus makes James Bond wear a fucking hat again. Absolutely not. Unchained, uncut, raw head. That's what I want from James Bond. Don't take that out of context.
So we start off in the only place not infected by capitalism, space. So we start with space.
It's the place. Man, space looks just kind of weird throughout this entire movie. I get it, right? It's the 60s, we've not been up there enough yet to really get a proper. It's like you've been to Skegness once, and then a year later you try to remember, and you're like, I think there was chips. There's kind of there's a vagary here, but space isn't purple. Stop that.
No.
Space isn't these colours.
And I don't think in space everything wobbles a little bit enough that you can really see it kind of you can just see the models like shaking, which in a way is kind of like nice and tactile, but it's also a bit, I don't know.
It got a bit quaint. It reminded me of like if Sylvanian families had spaceships, they'd look like these spaceships.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was adorable. Those are all good things, but are they Bond brand? I'm not entirely sure. We come across an unidentified UFO or UFO, as it's also known in the business.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that is one greedy spaceship. It's a hungry spaceship. More ship than you can handle. You ever been to a harvester and your main course eats your starter? It happens.
So the American thing that gets swallowed by the unidentified bullet-shaped thing, what are these things? What are these little pods? They look quite dinky.
Well, basically, what it was in the early days of space, before we landed on the moon, what happened was they would go up and they would do different tests. So they have different spacecraft. And these spacecraft are to test the effects of war on astronauts or cosmonauts if you're in the Soviet Union. And let me tell you something, Sam. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything that opens up like this spaceship opens up, it's upsetting. Nothing with a conical point should open in 4 and No.
But also, it will be someone's thing that this has happened. That's the sad thing as well.
But I shouldn't look at a spaceship and feel like I'm being vivisected or something like that. It's very awful. I didn't like it at all.
It's gross.
I was proper pissed off with Spectre. They went too far this time.
Yes. Now, the USA are like, well, we reckon it's the naughty Soviets, and the UK is like, well, steady on, old chap. We think it might be coming from Japan, of all places.
Well, as a soft power, we believe that it might be a third cooler head that could prevail. Can I just say, could you imagine this happening like at any other point in history, or particularly modern times? And this happens all the time in Bond, where it's like, here is like, in your mind, if you live in America or whatever, like no bones about it, the enemy, we're at Cold War with them. And they never go like, we're the Russians, we're the baddies. Blech! I'm sure they do in some movies, but very often it's like, we think the Russians are the baddies. And it's actually our willingness to assume we're going to go into all-out war at all times is almost always our undoing. It's usually a misunderstanding or a rogue agent. It's very rarely where it's like, yes, Bond, the USSR are back at it again, and they've got the biggest bomb that will eat an even bigger bomb, and you're all fucked. And I just think, imagine if Daniel Craig Bond, and they were like, it's ISIS Bond, the caliphate is coming for England. And he's like, well, actually, no, it's not. And we're going to work together with ISIS to find the real villains who are somehow worse.
Yes. And look, I'm all for a rebooted new generation of Bond, but I, much like the hat thing, I simply won't settle for that either. If he's wearing a hat and he's doing a collab with ISIS, I'm not having it.
Soft Bond in bed, literally in bed with the enemies all the time, like non-stop. They wouldn't let him back into the country. They'd interview him on BBC Radio 4 and there'd be pitchforks out for him.
Yeah, there would. Now, the UK is like, hey, we think it's coming from Japan. In fact, our man in Hong Kong is already on the case.
And that is official. It's like the Duchy of Lancaster. That's an official term.
Our man.
When the honours list comes out, there is like a list for our men in, and then various countries and whatnot. I have to say, I was impressed at the cool-headed diplomacy of the British Empire here, Sam. It's reasons like this that the power will only continue to grow, and influence will grow with it as well in the years that come ahead of the 1960s.
What could go wrong is what I was thinking watching this. It's like, we are the cool head that will prevail, 100%.
Absolutely, with your man in Europe and your man in Hong Kong.
Yes.
I always love that as well, that in England, if it's like, or man in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, it'd be your man in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
We didn't like him, so we sent him for, you're your man in Hong Kong, lad.
Now, James's first line here, he's in bed with a Chinese woman.
The lady, yes.
His first line, why do Chinese girls taste different? And I'm like, Jesus, like, fucking hell, what what's happening here?
I
And there's
know,
like-
he's a misogynist and a cannibal. This guy is just... And Connery got away with it for years on set. He was eating people, and everyone
Yeah.
felt like a bit sheepish to say anything. It was the 60s. It was the style at the time, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's only now in retrospect that we're cancelling him for his cannibalism, and I think that's rightly so, and I think all of these films should be stricken from the record.
I want to take a stand against cannibalism, if I'm honest, Sam,
Yeah.
in my older years. Yeah, I'm calling it out when I see it. It's not on.
That's brave of you.
Thank you.
Thankfully, though, after the comments like that and comparing women to Peking duck and fucking caviar, he gets...
What the fuck? I, by the way, knowing that Yellowface was coming up in this movie,
Yeah.
but the fact that I hadn't seen it for in 25 years, like, I got this cold chill like 9 times before it happened. When they said "or man in Hong Kong," I'm like, is that Bond in Yellowface? When he started talking about Chinese girls, I'm like, are you gonna like dress up now?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop constantly in the first 2 acts.
Thankfully, he gets folded into the bed that he's in by a special button. He just gets folded away and shot to bits by some lads who storm in. Bond's dead in the first fucking 5 minutes. He's gone, baby. Goodbye, James Bond.
Yeah.
And then that's when I realised it's the Robbie Williams music here. England.
Now, I must say, there's something quite indignant as an end for Bond. Him lying there, probably in his own cum, being flipped up into a bed and then shot. That's like pretty, like they find him and be like, oh, Jesus, you live by the sword, you know. And also, Bond was going on like he wanted to eat some duck after sex. That's a heavy meal to be going for. Jesus.
Yeah?
In this weather?
In this economy? Please.
Come on, like.
How do you feel about the intro sequence? I think it's all right. It's pretty nice. Not the best, not the worst.
I liked the use of footage of fissures and lava over the silhouettes of the ladies. I thought there was an over-reliance on that kind of umbrella symbol thing. You can't give that to me and not spin it around a little bit. I was like wanting to go up and blow it like a pinwheel. I felt I was getting blue balls from just seeing the static pinwheel the whole time.
Just go into the rotation keyframe, click on that, set it to 360, loop it out, you know? Come on, get on After Effects, guys.
You know, and this theme song as well, some of the more hurtful fans in England would chant that, you know, when they go, you only eat pies. Fucking cruel shit is what that is. Oh, by the way, screenplay by
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. Oh, that explains a few things, doesn't it? You know,
Racially
couple of racially charged. Ooh, here's all the fussy other races I don't like. You know what? I'm going to read all them Roald Dahl books, unedited, and I want to see what he's got to say about the Irish. What you got up your dirty sleeves, Roald Dahl? What are you hiding from me, huh?
There'll be something in there, won't there? No,
I bet there is, like, you know, there's an addendum to Charlie the Chocolate Factory, which is like, of course, none of the Irish were able to come because they weren't given any chocolate bars.
Yeah, that was a real surprise to see Roald Dahl there, and I don't think he even wrote that many screenplays. It's just he happened to do a Bond.
They were like, look, we've got a bit too many you know, they will sometimes they'll find a stand-up comedian or kind of a comedy writer to kind of punch up a script a little bit, make it a little bit jazzier. And, you know, the Broccolis were just looking at this going like, the stereotypes are there, but they're not like fizzing off the page with effervescent hatred and joy. Roll him in here. Let's go on. Let's do it. Like,
Get him
we
rolled
can do
in
this.
here.
You know.
Punching down consultant Roald Dahl here. So there we go. Intro sequence done.
Quite quickly, he's taken away and he is given full honours. A burial at sea, Sam. And as a top agent, getting the burial at sea, militaristic is all. There was something kind of somewhat romantic about that. I always thought, a burial at sea on the big ship with the salute and all that.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be, you know, I was tempted to open up the rolling document about my funeral and think burial at sea. And then they jettisoned him into the ocean like he was a shit when you're late for your commute. He's like, it was very indignant. I hope you get to live again if that's how you die the first time.
Well, in the little speech that they're giving at the start, they say something about the blink of an eye until the last trump, because they're talking about trumpeting, but like they refer to it as the last trump of the trumpet. Yeah, that's the classic like fake death method of burial, isn't it? buried at
It is.
sea because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't go to the grave.
Is unknown, like,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Personally, I want to be buried at Sky. You know, that's because the broadband service has been really bad, and I thought as a kind of a sit-in protest after I'm dead, just dump my body at Sky HQ in Leeds.
Okay, yeah.
Smell the place out a bit. They'll be like, oh God, upgrade them. Give them free movies.
Two lads immediately come and like scoop up the little. Like it's not a coffin, is it? It's just he's sort of
No, he's kind of mummified a little
entombed.
bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, this was a great inspiration for Mass Effect 2, where the titular character dies and is brought back before you can finish your tea. He is just straight away, like you dusted himself off, throwing his hat around on a frankly spacious submarine.
Why did he even need to be in there? Like, couldn't they have swapped the bodies at some point before you just yeet him into the fucking sea? Like, he doesn't need to be like, permission to come aboard.
I was kind of shocked at how little they play with it because,
Yeah.
like, there is a scene later on when the baddies are like, wait, I thought he's dead. Yeah, we read that, didn't we? No, he's alive. Oh, fuck me.
That's
And
the one bit.
it, like,
Yeah.
that is it. Done.
Yeah, Bond's chatting to M on this lovely submarine. He's officially dead, and he's being sent to Japan. And there's a password. They even have these
there is.
before computers.
And this comes straight from the PM himself as well.
Yeah.
Miss Moneypenny says, you have to say the password to me, and the password is, I love you. And Bond's like, fuck off. Did you catch what he'd studied at university that made him the perfect man to be our man in Tokyo?
Oriental languages, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was in the special racist wing of the college. That's still there. Oriental languages, a first. So what,
Yeah.
can Bond speak like Korean, Mandarin, Japanese, all the dialects? Is that what I'm to
I think
assume?
that's understood about Bond as a spy, isn't it? That he can kind of speak, he can blend. Well, I was going to say he can blend in, and I take that back. I do like that with the password being "I love you." The Secret Service is having a bit of a laugh because that's like that's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Isn't it?
You know, yeah.
You have to laugh, ladies and gentlemen, during the Cold War, otherwise you get bummed out by all the tension.
And James just keeps getting shot out or into things because they just sort of plonk him out of the like torpedo bit, don't they? Just kind of go bloop, off he goes.
He gets shot out of that, but he has
Yeah.
like no breathing device. He's just in a wetsuit with like an eye hole.
Yeah.
So like he gets shot out and then he like floats up and he just has to swim a bit. Like it's it's a bit shit. Like
Yeah. Tokyo looks fucking great in this little bit with all the lights and stuff. Fucking incredible. Yeah.
60s Tokyo.
Beautiful.
Tokyo is such a beautiful city, and it's one of those cities like New York. I think there's a few others there where you could take me there at different, like any point in history, and I'm like, I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I want to see how it's different. Like London, I want to see how the skyline has become mutilated over the years, you know. And like New York, I want to see how much the skyline sways now. And
James goes to watch the sumo, bit of sumo wrestling. Lovely
yeah,
stuff.
taking in a show at the old
Yeah.
Royal Goku Hall. Very, very nice indeed. And sure, he has all the lingo and all. He's all konnichiwa and domo arigato. You know, he's got the Duolingo. You know, before there were apps. It's
He's
impressive.
showing off that he got that first class honours in his degree. I'll tell you that for nothing. A nice lady comes to sit next to him at the sumo, and James, which I think he does to all ladies, says "I
Yeah.
love you," and that happens to be the password.
Yeah, there's a second where he's like, "Oh wait, shit, the password." Yeah, that too, obviously. You know. It's been like a whole 10 minutes on screen since Bond last got it with a lady, let's just say. So he is the man in Tokyo, but he meets our man in Tokyo,
Yes.
Mr. Henderson, who prepares Bond a stirred martini. And like I was watching him, I was like,
Yeah.
he's making a stirred martini. That is stirred, not shaken. There's got to be a fucking whole thing going on here. And then he gives it to him and he's like, that's a stirred martini, not a shaken one as you traditionally might like. And Bond's like, that's very good.
Well, I think that's like a little... It's mad that already at this point in Bond, when we're on the first Bond, the whole shaken not stirred thing is overdone to the point where they've got to do a little kind of goof about it. That's a bit of fun at the expense of the whole shaken not stirred thing.
I was expecting him just to go and all the drink to come out of his mouth.
Smash it on the ground.
Get it away! I won't drink that. Imagine as well, like if you wouldn't drink a drink because it had been stirred and not shaken. I say this as a man who dabbles in the bit of mixology himself.
Yeah.
Grow up, James.
Grow up.
Get another drink. Why don't you try more than one drink? How about that?
But this creepy Henderson man, pretty much immediately, it's just like, hey, here's who you need to talk to. I've been in Japan for 28 years.
You said creepy.
He looks weird.
And you know what it is? And I'm just trying to put my finger on it. Like, why is it this guy's rubbing me up the wrong way? Like, he's meant to be a goodie. He's our man in Tokyo.
Yeah.
He's sat on his bed in his robe doing business. What's going on there?
Yeah.
Hey, put on pants. Bonds come round. Like, if someone's got a license to kill, you put on your fucking trousers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he pays the price for not putting on his trousers.
Yes, that's why you're murdered.
Gets stabbed in the back while chatting because it's through those, thin kind of papery walls that he can be.
Perfect for murder.
Yeah. Perfect for perforation of both paper and flesh. So.
I will say, Sam, in terms of ways to go, he looked tremendously at peace for a man who was murdered mid-sentence. He went fucking beautifully. Jesus, if Granny went like that, there'd have been no problem. That was like, honestly, that was beautiful. It was great.
Now,
yeah, you know what? Actually, that's not a bad way now. Put that in the dock.
It's one way to go. Bond, he chases after the assailants, and I got that chill of like, is this the moment? Because he does disguise himself as the lad who just killed Henderson. He kind of
Yes, it's true. It's an assassin who's wearing a face mask, and this assassin has been infected with the woke mind virus. So that is why he is doing something stupid like trying to stop himself getting sick. Idiot. Why would you do that?
Bond, hitman style, puts on this guy's clothes, and that's enough to like get him into the car going, oh, I've been hurt by James Bond, but convincingly enough that he gets taken away.
And that, Sam, is why you do team building exercises with your team and your group. Because, like, if some lad came on here bundled up wearing a face mask pretending to be me, my co-host would know almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, within 5-10 minutes, like that.
It would be impressive if they got the accents just right with you, I think. That would, if you know what? If they could do that convincingly, maybe I might,
Maybe, hey, you could have a job in your midst if you could do that. Like, get in touch, cinemaswirl@gmail.com, lighten the load.
Actually, you know what? I don't want people sending in their impressions of you. I think that would be awesome.
And it has to be an impression of me wearing a face mask, doubled over like I've been attacked by James Bond, remember?
Yes. So James gets carried all the way into this chemicals office.
I should have known. Straight out of a Sato Chemicals playbook this was.
Yeah. And he's dropped off just before this lad finally realizes, the person in the back of my car and who I've been with this whole time is not who I thought. And we get a big fight that's, I think,
great.
Pretty cool, throwing him through those paper doors, hitting each other with sofas, which felt very much like the old WWE games.
Yes.
When you go backstage and pick up stuff, go poof.
Yeah, it reminded me of SmackDown 2, reminded me of Yakuza, the whole series. There was a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, one thing this movie has, and maybe it's just because we're at a point with Bond now where the budget is balubas.
Yeah.
But the sets are massive.
Yeah, big ones.
You could fit like 10 Ghosts on Mars in this room alone. Like the entire set for that whole movie. It's a big old office. Amazing.
Yeah, lots of room for fighting, and they take full advantage. The swords are out at one point, but Bond just whacks this bloke with a statue.
Yeah, it was very Indiana Jones-esque at points, this fight scene here. I will say this was probably, I don't say the highlight of the movie, but this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, because when Bond is too effortless, it gets a little, I do find those bits silly and fun, but if I'm to describe the Bond feeling, it's not him being completely effortless and not breaking a sweat. Him being a bit like, fuck me, and needing a bit of a drink afterwards. Yeah. I like that a lot. That was human Bond.
Yeah, he struggles a bit throughout some of this, and sometimes he's a bit of a fucking idiot as well. And I think that's good to have. And you can't just be invincible and amazing all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty much like me in Hitman. Like a few impressive moments, but alarms will be sent off. And most importantly, when it comes to the important bit, you will mess it up and get chased.
Yes,
but we'll all have fun along the way.
Exactly. Bond cracks into a safe, grabs some paper. He kind of grabs the papers without really looking at what he's
I
grabbing.
know,
He's just,
but like when you're a spy, Sam, you have a sixth sense for where the important docs are. And I really was hoping he'd show up later and be like, look what I've got, like payroll for June. Like, what's
Yeah.
what's a load of P45s in here? I don't understand why you brought me this. Yeah, Bond also kind of very casually kills people in this scene.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
chased by a few security guards and he doesn't even look at them. He doesn't even pull his gun up the whole way. He kind of shoots them down low and they're like, ugh, you know, just kills them off. No
Yeah.
bother. No sweat.
that's what happens when you got the license to kill. You know, you start to take it for granted and just
Or,
kill.
Sam,
Yeah.
maybe
Yes.
we're looking at why you shouldn't drink and kill like Bond is.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
you are going to kill someone, I would suggest you do it sober and then you can operate that machinery practically.
I agree with you. Now, as he's heading out the building, the nice lady from before rescues him and drives him out of there. So that's good. Bond wants information from her as to what's going on.
There's a lot of that in this movie of going from
What's
place to
going
place.
on?
What happened? I'm
She-
confused.
She runs away, then stops.
She outruns him in
Yeah.
heels. Pack
you
it
know.
in, Bond. Game over.
Yeah.
You don't need this old Scottish lad anymore. He can't even do the job.
He's tricked into tumbling down a trap door and down a slide.
That's I want to go down that.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Tokyo and find that slide and go, wee!
Whee! And then he's in the room with Tiger Tanaka. Who is,
Great name. Great name.
Who's he? What's his role? He's kind of their Japanese guy.
He's like their Secret Service contact.
Right.
He's part of SIRS. Although I will say, as cool as his name is and as cool as the guy looks,
Yeah.
and it's also cool that Bond has got, you know, a lot of Japanese pals in this edition of James Bond. Mm-hmm. Not everyone, but Tiger Tanaka is very clumsily dubbed with a strange
Right, okay.
voice that is not his. And he feels like he's from like a movie from 10 years prior or something because he speaks like this in a very dramatic voice. He felt like he was out of the shitty American dub of Godzilla. Like it was really poorly done.
But it's worth it for him saying "I love you" in that voice, isn't it? When he has to
That is
be
true.
like,
I love you.
"I
Mr.
love
Bond."
you."
Now, I tell you what I fucking love. Them coming to the conclusion from looking at these important documents that this group, this evil chemical group, is either smuggling rocket fuel or smoked salmon. One or the other. And it turns out it was actually my wife's evil plot to smuggle smoked salmon.
Yeah.
It's a separate plot, but they are, yeah, it's rocket fuel they're smuggling.
It's the rocket fuel, and they're talking about this on a private train underground.
Yeah, move over PJs. PTs is where it's at.
Yeah.
Private trains. Oh.
Tanaka, he doesn't walk the streets of Tokyo. It's too dangerous for a man in his position.
And I like shaki, particularly when it's given to me at the correct temperature of 98.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Very good, Bond. However, there's some sake that is actually better served at a warmer temperature because it is just how it is best enjoyed. And saying that all sake should be drank at only one temperature is fucking stupid. Shame on you. And shame on Tiger Tanaka for letting this fucking idiot Westerner come over and spout a load of bullshit and be like, you're a man of refined taste. I know this by the bullshit you're spouting.
Look,
fucking wrong.
He's humouring him. He's going,
That's
yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
you got your first in Oriental languages. You understand all of
It's a real degree, Mr. Bond. Yes,
Yes,
it's very
yes.
recognised in all the countries that are ascribed that weird name you've given it. I do like as well when him and Tanaka are sat down, they're doing the whole kind of like planning stuff, you know, where they're
Yeah.
like, yes, it's coming here then. And they're speaking like a movie in 20 years' time where they would be talking to a computer being like, let me get a copy of the coordinates that came from the shipping log. Except there's just a dude in the corner with a clipboard being like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, I'll do that as well. Yeah. And let me get a hard copy of that picture that you've just shown me. Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Does it over there?
Scribbling it down in his notes.
Hard work. Hard working man.
So one of the things that Bond nicks was a photo negative, and there's a micro dot on it, which I love. Like I wasn't familiar with micro dot, and the micro dot basically says, "Look, this is a picture of a boat, and we killed the tourist who took this photo as a precaution."
They liquidated her. What?
Liquidated, yeah,
What?
yeah. So maybe she's not dead. She's just
It's a liquid.
soup.
Yeah, it happens. I've had a liquid phase. It's okay. It takes some adjustment.
Now, Mr. Tanaka, Tiger, he's just got a bunch of women in their pants living in his house. Is that?
He sure does.
Yeah.
Now, are these girls vetted? Because you're just casually chatting international espionage and corporate secrets with like 5 unnamed ladies. And this man is as happy as can be because he's like, yeah, I get bathed by all these ladies because in Japan, men come first to then go to sleep. And it's the best. I love Japan. And Bond's like, I too despise the notion of female pleasure. Lather me up.
The thing is, Mr. Bond, you've got chest hair, which they are fascinated by. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then he spouts some proverb about birds making their nest.
Yeah, the proverb is, birds love hairy chests, yeah? If you want to get shifted by a bird, have a hairy chest, huh?
Yes.
You'll be grand.
And again, Bond's got to pick a girl that he wants for his massage.
Pick a girl.
Pick a girl. Pick which one you want. And in response to his choice, he's told, good choice, she's very sexiful, which, I mean, that feels like a Roald Dahl fucking line.
Very good. And Rose was back there being like, hey, Roll, do you want to go to Japan? No. No. I want to sit here and eat chocolate and be fucking racist. I hate all the races.
The girl from before, the sports car girl, Aki, she
tags in to have sex with him.
Yeah, which there's a much worse version of this scene in the film The Boat That Rocked with Nick Frost, but we won't talk about that.
Save that for the best of British swill vote, I'm assuming.
It's a really horrible thing. But like, yeah, she's like, oh, I'm going to sneak in and continue the massage. And Bond at this point is like, oh, and then
he's delighted she's here.
Yeah, and they have a bit of kissing, which I didn't realise was on the cards for these two. But
yes, but they kissed and then it faded to black, which means Bond definitely had sex. That's the rule.
Yes. Now he gets a meeting with the head of the chemical company that he just broke into.
The balls on this guy, huh?
Yeah.
Literally returning to the scene of the crime. Like, they're there offering him a drink and they're going to go into the cupboard where he buried a body from the 4 people he murdered. He's like, come on. Wait till the high alert goes down at least, man.
Did you catch his undercover name?
Oh, it wasn't Anderson. It was, what was it?
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Because he was fishing for some clues, I
think he
so.
was, yeah. But this Asato lad, he's already on to Bond. Like, he knows that he's got guns, he's spying on him, but he's so far not letting on.
What he does is he's leaving enough stuff there for Bond to do himself in. There's a sexy evil lady. There's champagne. It's early in the morning. He's going to get him drunk. He's going to get him drunk and then send him on a car chase. He's hoping that Bond will assassinate himself, basically.
I mean, Bond thinks he's absolutely nailed this fake Me Too, and he's fucked. Like, he walks out like, so confidently out the door.
He's wearing the same clothes as he was. He's got blood on his hands. Whereas
the person he's just been talking to is like, fucking kill him. And they're literally pulling alongside him to murder him, and Aki manages to, again, save him from obliteration. Like, he's a fucking oblivious idiot at this point.
He is very oblivious. Yeah. Like, they're offering him a drink. He's like, well, a drink. Well, I should toast the many successful murders I committed last night. So, yes, thank you, Don Perignon. So, Aki, as well as capturing his heart, has saved his fanny on at least 2 occasions so far.
Yes. Just laughing at the word fanny, listeners. I'm so sorry.
It's good. It's a good word.
Car chase time. And
this was good.
It's an especially fun car chase because
the small streets of Tokyo.
Yes. And the big magnet of helicopter, which is, lovely stuff.
How difficult must that be to store and to work around in the hangar when one of your helicopters has got a big old magnet on it? Say, don't bring any tools near. Oh man, great stuff.
Loved it so much. The lads who were chasing Bond, they just get picked up by the big magnet, and the one who's driving is still like turning the wheel when he's lifted up in the air. Like, mate, that's not going to help you.
Fabulous.
You're in the air, but really funny. They get flown over the water and just splooshed right in there. A lot of fun. Yeah.
So good. Why isn't there routine? Like, I know there are magnets available in like Grand Theft Auto games in some respects, but I don't think we have the simple helicopter with a big magnet and plunk someone up very easily. There's all this aligning that I have to do. I just want to, you know what?
Yeah.
Big boys' toys. I want a big magnet and a helicopter. I want to pick up a car and place it somewhere else.
I don't know if this resonates with you, but I can feel the video game physics of that. Like, I know how
yeah.
it would feel to control what's happening there, you know?
Yeah, and I will say this is probably one of the most video gamey Bonds we've seen, like, because, you know, I know IO, the folks who made Hitman, are making a James Bond game as of 2023, and like there are lots of scenes of him, you know, when he knocks someone out, carefully putting them in the corner and closing the door and all that, you know. It lines up. It's a very action-packed Bond. There's very little faffing around and talking in this. You're on to the next thing almost immediately after whatever fun thing has just happened. Because we just had a big magnet shooty gun car chase, and then he turns and he goes, "Send little Nelly," and immediately you're like, "What the fuck is going to? What's going to happen now?"
And accompanied by her father.
Father.
They head to the dock to investigate this mystery boat. There's, of course, a mystery boat they've got to investigate.
Oh, man. And fucking Bond has to fight the Mad Angels from Shenmue 1 down the dock. This is great. And we get the big chopper sequence of them filming on the roof. That was amazing.
Right.
That was cool.
Fucking beautiful. I love that. So Bond fights off some lads at the docks and then gets up onto some roofs, I think, and is just running along. And you just get this amazing long helicopter shot
Loads
of him.
Loads
of people running, him just beating them up and keeping going. That again felt like fucking top-down video game type thing, but you know, cinematic. It was lovely to watch.
You don't get that giant sense of scope and space in spy movies in the 60s usually.
No.
And I think this had come at the point now where, because Bond had been around for, 6 or 7 years at this point, I think that the spy genre, it was obviously an easy thing for them to stick out loads of spy movies. So I guess they went bigger and badder, and my God, it absolutely shows. This is fucking badass. And I rarely get into that feeling with Connery Bonds where I'm pumping my fist and going, yes! This is more of a live and let die feeling that I'm getting here in the 60s. Very fun.
So much of what he's doing at this point in the movie feels like it would be very satisfying, because then after that, he's doing fucking swanton bombs off the levels of this ship onto like padded... and he just knows that those bits are padded, which is very impressive.
Because he synced up the area, so he's got all the markers on his mini-map now, and he can jump off that. It's nice and safe. Yeah. He comes across the evil lady from before. Bond, you should have known she was evil. She's wearing an evil dress now. Come on, Bond, get it together. And he's not actually tortured. He's threatened with being tortured, and then she's just like straight into kissing him, and it's like, oh, are you with me now? And she's like, no, I just want to kiss you while you're all tied up. Might cut your skin in a bit, so hang on.
I mean, that for me really reads as foreplay, doesn't it? I've got a special tool that removes skin. Let's have a big snog, And for some people, again, that's their thing, and that will have
I think
awoken
Bond
something.
is establishing many tropes across all media here in this movie here. I'm not gonna lie, in terms of Bond girl, the look, the sultry voice, all that, great. But at her job, she is rather shit. She lets him go pretty much immediately.
Yes. He uses that skin slicer to cut her, I think her bra straps or dress straps, which is, classic Bond. I think they have it away. So she's let him go. He thinks...
That means sex if you're not from Nottingham, by the way.
Yes. They have it away.
Have it away.
They have it away, yeah.
Have it away. What are you, ordering something from the fish and chip shop for later? No, I'll have it away, actually. No, I'll have it away.
That's when when I go to see Forest at, let's say, Derby, we're going to have it away. Like, we're going to the away game to really have it, That's what that means, yeah. She was bluffing, though, when she let him go, because he's like, I'll split the money with you. And she's like, okay. But they get in a plane, and then she's like, I just wanted to trap you in this plane and then jump out of the plane, just parachuted out.
Yeah, her death trap of a plane is probably 1 or 2 iterations away from being functional, because she kind of just puts like a slot of MDF wood, and he's like, oh no, an IKEA death trap, I'll never get out of this pressed cork. He pretty handily gets out of it, and I'm not sure how many planes are lost to failed assassinations every year, but I imagine it's quite a few.
It's very fun. It's like a fun scene. We get to see Bond at the last minute do a sort of emergency landing of this plane, but also this secretary woman, who is also, high ranking high-ranking assassin, had every opportunity to kill Bond.
Oh,
but
yeah.
wanted to show off, and I think that's
that's
her
it.
undoing here.
She wanted to show off her cool plane, her cool pilot outfit. You know, she was too into the whole shimoli, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I did like as well when Tiger Tanaka is talking with Aki, and he's like, he's been with that woman. I wonder if anything's happened. And Aki goes, he wouldn't touch that horrible girl. He's already like, you know.
Yeah.
I would say if you're anywhere near James Bond, get tested, because you know, this is, even by casual sex's standard, very informal. Very informal indeed.
Q's here.
Oh, and he's all angry because he's had to travel, and because he's a banged up, boozy Brit abroad, he's got his special British travelling outfit of basically look like he's gone on safari.
Yes, and Bond's like, hello, Dad, is my girl hot and ready? And I'm like, look, they've got a fun banter-based relationship, and I can get behind that. The setup here of Little Nelly, the kind of jump cut construction scene, is so good. It's like the helicopter shot of the fighting. This is another thing where I'm like, this feels almost more modern than this time would let on. I really like that.
It feels like not like Bond for that reason, because it feels like, you wouldn't get this, but it is so funny. When they said Little Nelly was here, I wrote down that Bond is definitely going to have sex with Little Nelly. And then, of course, we realised that Bond had just been fiddling away at Tears of the Kingdom to make the ultimate helicopter sex machine for him to definitely have sex with.
It's a tiny little helicopter rigged with all sorts of weaponry. It looks so stupid, and I fucking love it, and I want to have a go.
And he has this special little hat he has to wear when he is in it as well. That makes him look like a shit Mario brother. This thing is overloaded. This is like what you get when you beat the game and you want to go back and this is what you get when you beat the game and you want to go back and just have fun. It shoots, and this is by my calculation, 60 missiles a minute.
Yeah.
60 missiles, heat-seeking that is, a minute. That's one missile a second. You don't need that many missiles, Bond. Save some for the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's so many missiles.
You mentioned Tears of the Kingdom. I think Bond having a look around this island very much reminds me of the fan and steering stick bike that I've been using to explore. And I know some people think that's bad. But just to kind of like cruise around and look at stuff, it feels very,
a few markers,
very nice.
Again, very video gamey. Bond checks out all of the zones and he notes there's nothing here but volcanoes. Keep that in your back pocket for later on, because it's time for the best type of dust up. It's a chopper dust up. Those whirly birds know how to fight, baby. And I like seeing helicopters explode en masse.
Yes.
And he almost takes full advantage of those 60 missiles a minute, because I swear there were 60 helicopters exploded in a second. The first helicopter goon we see, he looked exactly like Kendall Roy, because he had this kind of spaced out look and he was like, oh, yeah, helicopters are good. It tracks, it flies, it's good, yeah. It was so fucking funny watching him explode. Yeah. I was laughing my head off. I've not laughed so much at people dying on screen in a long time.
Yeah.
Good job, Bond. You brought joy to the murder.
I think it's because he's in a funny little mini helicopter and these are all big boys and he's still making... I'll tell you what he makes of them. Neat work is what he makes of them. He makes neat work of these guys.
He does. He makes very neat work. And as he's making neat work of them, it's going... If you want to know what the Bond feeling is for me right now, it's that music playing as loads of helicopters explode, made only better by the few shots of Sean Connery going... Like he was so bored. You're flying around in a special death machine.
And Kevin, I'm amazed that I get to say this. After that, meanwhile, in space...
Yay!
We've got another naughty mystery space gobbler gobbling up a Soviet ship now.
Oh, it takes all sorts.
And so things are getting heated up and controversial in terms of international relations. So
when the gobbler descends...
Yeah.
There's a sentence. When the gobbler descends, that animation, it was like I was watching like an early War of the Worlds adaptation or something. It had very much like an animation you'd see on BBC children's programming in the 70s, maybe. And when James Bond came down from outer space... and then some like prog guitarist will go to work on it. Man, it was great. Let me tell you, you like basses? This is the movie for you. Move over my local home base. This is the base I want to be in. It's huge.
Yes, this secret volcano base. Now, we mentioned before references and things that have nicked things wholesale. Hank Scorpio's base in The Simpsons literally, in some cases, looks like it was traced from this. Like it's
Well, Sam, what's the name of that episode?
It's
Yeah.
yeah. What is it? You only move
You
twice.
only move twice, so it is. It's a straight rip.
Yes, of course it's a straight rip. That all makes sense now. But it looks identical.
Also, as well, in terms of copycats, I bet someone in Dubai has actually done this, built a base inside an active volcano.
Of course.
And you can get 48-pound fish and chips in it. There's loads of apartments. No one's bought them. It's looking really good. A good investment.
They had to actually build the volcano to then build a base in the volcano.
Yeah, they built a new machine that will cause the plates to collide and create new mass.
The effects looks a little bit hokey of the Gobbler, the descent of the Gobbler. And what did you call it? As the Gobbler descends, which feels like an album or an autobiography or something.
It's a King Crimson album, actually, The Descent of the Gobbler.
But Kevin, who have we got in here in this secret underground base?
It's Blofeld.
It's Blofeld.
Man himself, who we did see in From Russia with Love, I believe.
But we didn't see him. Yes. You can tell because of the cat, which got Stanley's dander up. So there's a bit of Stanley dander there from Blofeld's cat.
I want you to read on this with Blofeld, because Blofeld's cat, it got Joe thinking. She doesn't like seeing Blofeld and the cat, because the way he strokes the cat is very, like, shit. Like, if you were to stroke a cat like that, the cat would be like, meow. But I was like, but Blofeld's a baddie, and he's not stroking this cat because he likes the cat. He's stroking it as, like, a power play. So I was thinking it was an actual stylistic choice for the actor to pet this cat in a slightly untoward way. I don't know what you thought of it. As a man who stroked a cat in his day.
Well, it depends on whether the cat is
evil.
Well, look, the actor shouldn't be stroking the cat badly, whatever happens, right? Unless it's not a real cat for the stroking moments.
Or not a real hand, like it's really soft or whatever it is.
But yeah, I mean, it could be a stylistic thing to be like, he's not very nice to the cat. But I think the implication with Blofeld is that he only cares for the cat and doesn't care for people in the same way. So I think he's meant to be nice to the cat, but it's just...
Yeah, he's always singing to it, isn't he? He's like, you only live 9 times. Meow, 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 meow. Now, I don't know about you, Sam, but seeing these poor astronauts who've been captured have the indignity of having to walk out of their spaceship in their spacesuits, and they're all like, ugh. It'd be like if you're in your togs and you ended up outside the community centre, you know, the leisure centre. You'd be like, ugh. It feels wrong clothes, severely wrong clothes.
It's embarrassing and unfair, I would say. Now, Blofeld, he's got piranha fish in his lair, and
he sure does.
He's also got the secretary assassin lady who didn't kill Bond here.
Didn't get the job done. And as congratulations, she's given a celebratory Parma ham. Wrong. It's used to rile up, as a starter, the piranhas who then eat her.
Yeah, she's gone. And the instruction from Blofeld is kill Bond now. Kill him.
Now.
Kill Bond. Come on.
I hate Bond.
Bond, meanwhile, and I got that chill again, heads to ninja school.
Tiger Tanaka literally goes, I have ninjas. And then we're like in his ninja school. He's like, this is my ninja training school.
Yes.
It is straight out of the silliest, most ridiculous interpretation of Eastern culture that 60s Hollywood could provide. Basically a load of noisy men in gis doing vaguely every martial art that the writers could think of after a 2-hour powwow and blue sky thinking session. There's a bit of Aikido, there's some ninja stars, and he's like, and here are modern ninjas, and they just got guns, like they run around with revolvers, going bang, 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 bang. Fucking great.
The things that worried me here, and rightly so, were you will take a wife to maintain cover, but first you must become Japanese.
What, like metaphorically, or this whole bit, right?
Yeah,
was total padding unnecessary. There's no reason why Bond shouldn't go to ninja training school and then go out in his boat and find the cave and then go on the adventure. We have this like weird 20-minute sequence where he gets fucking special racist surgery. And it's not like as well, oh, they kind of gussy him up and put him in the clothes. Like they make out like his fucking face off. He's in this big fucking lab and they're like painting him and like, oh God.
I mean, it's weird that scene of them doing it is in it and being like, die. Why you only die? You should just dye the bits that are on show of my skin. And I'm like, you're talking about dyeing it. All right. Oh, the actual reveal of how he looks after all of this. I mean, fucking, like, I don't know what there's not a good way this could go.
No, but it was like, I don't want to say you were disappointed by the yellow face, but it was mostly a bad haircut. It was really shit. Like
I don't know if that's a better result or not. Like
I know it's quite murky, unknown territory here.
Yeah.
Because if it was better, it would have been worse. You know what I mean?
But it's pointless to the point where it's like, there's no reason, really, for any of that to have happened other than they thought it was a laugh to basically put a wig on him.
They're pranking Bond. They're pranking Connery because it's his last one. They're like, hey, you know? Come on.
Oh, is this a rib? Is he being ribbed
here? Exactly.
Yeah.
They couldn't find his bag to shit in, so instead they gave him jokey yellow face as well. It was the style in the late 60s, I believe.
And then they poisoned his girlfriend from up top as well.
Yeah, it's quite a peculiar sequence because he has his wedding, the traditional like Shinto wedding with the priest, the family. And he goes to like the village and there's some, he's in this very pretty, scenic Japanese fishing village and it's cool to see more of that beautiful landscape and all that. But it is, maybe because we're so non-stop action the rest of the time, this bit I was like, when's Bond going to take off his yellow face and go kill people?
But no, it's there for longer than it needs to be.
And he's also at one point dressed up like Snufkin from the Moomins. He's got this big hat on him and he's dressed all shabbily. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, and I like that the wife, who they refer to repeatedly as his pig-faced wife, even though she is beautiful, she's like, well, we're sleeping in separate beds, Mr. Bond. And he's like, but we're supposed to be married. And she's like, well, we're not. Like, you used a fake
it's
name.
It's business.
And then he's like, I'm not eating these oysters now because I don't need the aphrodisiac that they would allegedly provide.
He looks down at his plate of Viagra and is like, I shan't be needing this.
Eyes bigger than my stomach, I guess.
Also, the fact that Aki was assassinated instead of Bond and dies, he shows no emotion about that at all. But I know that's Bond.
Because he's got a new Japanese lady to have sex with, which I'm pretty sure he will before the end of the movie. So don't worry, Bond. He'll move on. He'll move on.
Another very kind of video game, very Zelda-y thing is rowing into a mystery cave on a big island.
Love that.
I like that kind of exploration. And climbing up a big mountain near the volcano to have a little look at it. I can't remember why Bond's wife here, who I think is called Kissy, but I only know that from the Wikipedia page. Yes. Well, I don't know why she's in her pants, but I guess it's Bond, isn't it? So
because they're meant to be honeymooning, so I think the cover, so people don't know what's going on, is that they're splashing about in the bay, and then they go to the Cave of Secrets. I will say, appreciated Bond's quick reaction in the Cave of Secrets when there was gas and he immediately jumped under the water. I feel you and I, with a lifetime and a childhood of scaremongering about radon and carbon monoxide, the silent killer, that we would similarly be quick to react to any evil, inert gases in our midst.
No, I'd be dead. I wouldn't know to go underwater. I wouldn't think it through.
Did you get the radon chat in school?
No, I don't think we did. I don't think we got a radon chat.
We got the radon chat in school, and the best bit about the radon chat in school is that my teacher, and keep in mind, in my classroom in Ireland, there was only like 6 of us in my class, so we were a very small village, and we got the radon chat about how it will kill you. We're all like 10 years old, but like, it will kill you. You will die. And I think she had overheard me, the teacher, talking about playing video games, and she was like, here's an example of someone who would definitely get killed by radon. Maybe they go home after school. Maybe they turn on their computer. And maybe they play it for hours and hours. Those people are going to die of radon. Kevin. And I was like, but my computer, I play 3D Movie Maker upstairs, miss. And she's like, damn it. Almost had the kid believing he was going to die of radon. Damn it. Yo, Irish government, give me a new evil gas to scare him with. This one's not working anymore.
So, Bond and Kissy, they head down into the volcano to see what's what. And they discover that the water is not in fact water, it's metal.
Da-dun! Some honeymoon. God, not even war on your resort. It's just metal painted to look like it. He does go, some honeymoon at this point, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
Like he was literally letting you, the audience, and more importantly, Kissy, know that he is expecting sex on this reconnaissance mission at some point.
Bond sneaks into the lair, right?
He's prepared because he's dressed in espionage layers. He's got like a tactical suit underneath his diving gear. Very smart.
Very smart. Sneaks in, manages to blow the lock on the prison that's housing the astronauts.
And did you notice the astronauts and the cosmonauts, once they were sat down chatting, they were all fast friends.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, turns out our political and geographical differences are not really worth the paper they're printed on. We call them cosmonauts. We call them astronauts. I want to buy you a beer. I want to buy you a beer. Sam, I don't know if you're ready for this. It's a hot day. I don't know if you could take a sick burn, but here it comes.
All right.
This villain's lair's got a better connected rail system than the East Midlands. There you go.
Oh, mate.
Yeah. Suck on
no
it.
need. No
Yeah.
need. No need for that. That one service from Lincoln to London was more than enough. So
Plenty, actually.
don't know what he's
Maybe I
talking
don't
about.
want to go to London. Maybe I don't want to go. You think about that? Maybe I want to go to Edinburgh instead.
Meanwhile, while Bond is freeing astronauts and cosmonauts, who I assume bonded over footy in their prison cell, Kissy is swimming back, getting shot at by helicopters, but she just dives down underwater. Very capable here in her situation.
Well, the bikini gives you a buff for swimming, I believe. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. Bond, he dresses up as an astronaut, tries to sneak on board the spaceship, and Blofeld is like, whoa.
He's a space head. He knows something's amiss.
This guy doesn't look right. Bring him in here. I reckon that's James. Bring him in. And he comes in.
I told you it was James.
See?
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah. Blofeld finally introduces himself. This is a big moment. He shows his blowface, and we see Blofeld for the first time.
And it's iconic because he says the name of the movie as well. He's like, tonight, Mr. Bond, is the Quantum of Solace. Whatever that fucking means.
Yes, this is my second life. He mentions second life. So that theory is confirmed. Blofeld's like, I'm about to inaugurate a little war. So it's the whole thing of like, he wants all the global powers to hate each other so that he can come in with whatever he's got going on and take over the world. That's presumably his plot here.
Profiting off of geopolitical conflict. You hate to see it.
Yes.
And he's going to eat a third spaceship as well because
He's hungry.
It is unlimited. You said it was unlimited spaceships I could eat, and this would normally cost me $6.50, but I get it free with my main meal, so I'm going for a third spaceship.
Yeah.
You can't stop me, Harvester. I mean, space.
Everyone at the table's looking away, embarrassed. But Blofeld's like, no, I'm going to eat it. Kissy has managed to swim back to Tanaka and get the army of ninjas over here. Quick
Team, go!
Yeah, but they're getting shot at by crater guns. Blofeld's got crater guns inside the volcano shooting at them.
And he also he's separated his goons into ketchup and mustard. He's got very stylistic goons. And the good guys all wearing all grey. I guess they're camouflage in the volcano. Very smart.
Well, they're the mayonnaise, aren't they? The mayonnaise that's gone off a little bit.
Grayonnaise?
Grayonnaise.
No, Sam, this is grayonnaise.
Now, Blofeld says, my guns can kill a small army. You can watch it all on TV. It will likely
We've got
be
a medium army, mate, so I don't know what the fuck your problem is. You're screwed.
It will likely be the last program that you see. And Bond's response is, well, if we're going to watch fucking telly, can I at least have a ciggy on the go, please? And Blofeld is like, oh yeah, make sure you get his cigarettes for him, because, you know...
Did you notice this? I think it was the time of when it came out, there was a lot of, like, very pointed, cigarettes.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. Like you will die. Hope you're gonna enjoy dying there with your cigarette, Mr. Bond.
Yeah.
And Blofeld, of course, is like, oh well, I'm a baddie, so obviously I love cigarettes. So yeah, take it out. Yeah, go on, smoke them up. Smoke them up.
Do you reckon if this scene was in the new woke Bond, Bond would say, well, if I'm going to watch this YouTube clip, I gotta have my vape. Do you think that would be the thing?
No, because Bond would be like, actually, the research on vapes is currently very murky. A lot of special interests and dark money going into it. So I'm going to forego my vape for now. But you enjoy them at home. Smoke them if you got them, you know?
But imagine the gadgets you could get inside a vape. You know, imagine the gizmos and gubbins you could fit inside that. You know,
you suck on this, Bond, and you can blow poison gas everywhere. You can suck on this, Bond, and make a stranger smell vanilla on the tube.
But the cigarettes are a secret gun, so Bond does a little bit of
it's a
shooting.
cigarette cannon, man. That thing blows the dude in half. Bam!
Now, this massive shootout between basically two fucking armies in this base.
Oh.
You realise that the colour coding is just to differentiate, like on the football, like you've got a home kit and an away kit.
Exactly. And Lord of the Rings may have benefited from some of this denunciation of who's who, but man, what a scene. Millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Great stuff.
It looks expensive. I recognised it from that bit in The Simpsons again, where Hank Scorpio is like talking to Homer while all of this is happening in the background.
It happens in Austin Powers as well, exactly like this. There's a lot of this taken straight from it. Man, there is a...
It's beautiful.
And you know what? What I love about this is you could take away 5 minutes of this, or you could add on another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any difference. I'd still be like,
beautiful stuff. A lot of fun. And we've only got like 6 minutes until the world goes to war, by the way, because that gobbler is descending. Or it's not descending, it's going horizontal.
I will say as well, fun thing to do during this scene where you've got all the kind of colourful baddies taking on all the lads in all grey suits.
Yes.
If, like me, you've got glasses, if you take them off, it looks like Putty Patrol are finally putting the boots and fucking up the Power Rangers. Get them! Get those fucking teenage bastards!
Mr. Asato of Asato Chemicals is shot by Blofeld.
Oh, that was great. Blofeld has like 9,000 opportunities to kill Bond, and he's like, but first my close associates. Bang! All right, now you come over here.
He tries to shoot Bond, but Tiger Tanaka gets him with a ninja star because he runs a ninja school. So, of course,
Comes free stars.
that makes sense.
Were you surprised that Sean Connery yielded the floor so much to, like, most of the action, the finale here is other people. It's not Bond, it's Bond and his 100 mates.
You mentioned the Duncan Bannatyne thing of 1 foot out the door a little bit, and I wonder whether Sean's like...
running away from the scene. Like.
He's just like, well, you guys take this scene and enjoy yourself. But I thought that was actually weirdly refreshing to just have a real bang bang fest focusing on people who aren't necessarily Bond. You barely know where he is for quite a bit of this scene. Like, he's in there somewhere, but he's kind of lost in the fray.
And the forums went alight with rage when they found out Bond was being replaced by 116 ninjas. They hated that idea. Woke mind virus bastards. No.
It's 007, not 700. That's what I've always said.
Flipped it up on its head. It's ridiculous.
Also, there is a kind of sub-baddie here who does fuck all, but I think is called
Hands.
Hank. Hands.
Big man.
Yeah, Big Man Hands. Yeah. I called him Hank. But it's Hands.
He's going to get this Hands. Yeah, it's a standard big man Bond fight.
Yeah.
You know, it was remarkably similar to the other big man Bond fight we had earlier on in the movie, but fine.
It was. I suppose we get the big army battle in the other room, and then we get a kind of more private fight for Bond and Sean Connery in this room. And yes, it's kind of, as you say, the same as the one before, and this lad gets thrown into the piranhas.
And we got one of our only quips in the whole movie when he goes, bon appetit.
Yeah.
You know, because the piranhas. And I think that's like, is that them trying to turn away from it or be like, oh, less quips, less puns? Because when Roger Moore comes in, I feel like the puns are back. But here, it's like they're stepping away from it. Me, personally, if I dump someone in there and they get eaten by piranhas, I would have went, piranha. But that would make me seem like a baddie, probably.
Yeah, you can't be too jovial about it, but you've just got to be kind of, what's the word? Flippant. Bond's quite flippant. You know, he's a bit
is,
flippant.
you know?
Yes. So he's nicked the keys for the big fucking exploder from this guy.
It's literally called the exploder button.
Yeah.
Great.
You know what? I like when, what was the one? Was it The Rock where the bombs were like green goo, and
Yes.
it was very clearly like, this is the bad
Obviously,
stuff. This is going
important.
and so to
Bad.
call this button the exploder button, I like the clarity. You know, it helps me know what's going on. If you said, oh, the blah, 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 C25A, but I don't know
Call it
what
the
that
exploder
is.
button. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like when he presses the exploder button, the ship explodes. And then we cut back to the Americans who go, the enemy has blown up. I repeat, the enemy has blown up. Great stuff. Special shout out as well for the Americans at the Hawaiian space base, all wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yes,
Excellent.
lovely stuff. The fact that the Americans like, well, we're on the brink of war here, and then when the enemy just explodes on its own, they're like, well, that settles that. Everything's fine. Let's go back to being okay. Blofeld, at this point, having lost his big moments, just pulls a big self-destruct lever.
You're more like blow up Feld. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom,
I will
boom.
say,
boom, boom.
an exploding base and all the people escaping. Let's all admit it now. Humans, we're a great bunch of lads. We can do all sorts, and we're a proud species. But let's all come to the moment here and admit that when there's around 100 of us in a body of water all swimming at once, we look fucking ridiculous. I was all these
silly.
guys going, they look so fucking stupid. Oh, I was embarrassed to be a human. Guys.
They all get away.
Yeah, they do.
Which
they
is-
do. And Bond, that volcano's getting him hot. It is. He's all fucking randy.
The explosion makes the volcano look like it's erupting or actually erupts. But the effects on that looked a little bit cheap as well. But it's okay. It's fine. You've spent all the money on those massive sets and those massive fight scenes, which I think is the better use of money.
It's so specifically visually impressive in so many different ways that, like, I'm not going to hold it against it that it has a couple of dodgy bits of, you know, green screen, or they didn't make the Death Star blow up properly or whatever it is, you know.
No.
But Bond, with his new fourth squeeze of the movie, and he's all because you know he's volcano blowing up, he's all wound up from edging his oysters earlier. He didn't eat them, so he's all like, yeah, you know, he's really ready for some action. And bloody hell, MI6 ruined the moment. He only lived twice. Well, I wish I was dead because I've been marooned on a submarine and they're all watching me now.
Listeners at home, I had to...
I had a little accident.
Kevin caught me off guard. I had a big mouthful of water when he said edging his oysters, which just as a phrase really got me. So that was tough going for me. But
I'm very sorry, Sam. I've done you like MI6 did Bond. I've left you stranded on a dinghy on top of a submarine.
yes, now about that honeymoon. But no, too late, Bond. You've been picked up by a submarine. Bond will return on Her Majesty's Secret Service is where he will return.
In or on the Majesty's Secret
In or
Service.
around the Secret Service. Yes. Wow.
I
okay.
feel this is the Bond movie we've watched that was, in spite of its obvious flaws that you would have known about before you sat down, because I think everyone was giving you fair warning about the yellow face and all that.
Yeah.
But I feel this is like almost unironically the most action-packed. Like, if your dad described what James Bond is, invariably they're describing this movie, I feel. And I feel like a lot of other Bond movies dial back a lot of what this gives, because this is an over-the-top Bond.
Yes.
But man, for a 2-hour movie, maybe that bit where he's getting married and just dressing up as another race, you could trim that out.
Yeah.
But man, I thought it sounded like it was a blast.
Yes.
You know?
You know
Seemed
what
like a blast.
I'm going to say this and be clear about it. I had a lot of fun. And I have to do the caveat of like, I know that there's bad bits in it.
I know it's bad.
We all get that, right? But that was a lot of fun. That was a blast. Yeah.
I submit to you, Sam, and maybe I'm crazy for saying it, and people might think so as well. I think you could edit this to get rid of that yellow face bit, and it would make just as much sense. You wouldn't lose anything. because why is it there? It doesn't need to be there. It'd be fine. And I feel like this is, if someone said the younger generation is not going to watch this Bond movie for that reason, I'd be like, well, yeah, probably, I guess. But like, I'm not like so precious about that scene where I'm like, well, they either have to show them that bit or they shouldn't see the movie at all. I just feel like if there ever was a compromised Bond, it's this. And I think the bits that are good enough that you want to cut out that fucking cancer of that awful racist shite.
Yes, it genuinely doesn't add much to the plot, and you get the sense that it was a sort of 60s thing of, well, let's do this because we can do this and we think it's fun.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but everything else is kind of pure fucking Bond, isn't it? For all the good and bad, it's that this is like proper Bond, from what I understand. This is like Bond.
It absolutely was. It had excellent car chase, excellent fight scenes, excellent shootouts. The gadgets were just like, I mean, look, Little Nelly was just the most fucking insane 3 minutes of cinema I've seen with James Bond attached to it. It was an absolute hoot and a holler. And one that I can't believe I'm saying it holds up, because it feels like it obviously doesn't.
But it also does. It feels like a movie that came out 10 years later. It doesn't feel like a movie from the 60s in many respects. I agree with you. Yeah. It holds up visually quite well.
Yeah.
And sort of aesthetically, I guess. And the music is fantastic. The way this is directed is all great.
And it's nice new scenery. Like, seeing Tokyo was awesome. You know, there was a lot of variation in where they were, and it felt unlike a lot of other Bond movies where we do similarly jump from one place to another. It felt that there was, generally speaking, good cause and reason and know-how as to why and how we're going from point A to point B. Yeah. And in the finale, point C.
I understood what was going on, which is not true of all Bond movies. I'll say that.
No, and I mean, like, if you can't understand what's going on in a Bond movie, it's fucking drop the ball, hasn't it? It shouldn't be that hard.
Yes. So, you know, there's things you can clearly argue with this film, but aside from those, I'm struggling to kind of, you know, argue with my feeling that I had a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. You know,
it was a good time. I mean, it was a good time. What I think you knew what was bad about it going in, and then the bad thing happened, and you're like, that was as described.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes,
it's like you were going to a restaurant and you were told, look, just so you know, you'll get a little diarrhea afterwards. You have a great meal, and then the next morning you're sat there in the toilet going, I was warned.
I knew these shits were coming. So
and here it is. You know. So, yeah. To see the rating for this one. I'm also very excited that I'm going to get to do another reverse swirl for summer bonding. I'm going to get to see the next Daniel Craig James Bond movie, and I had so much fun with the first one. I can only assume the reason why none of my friends want to watch this one with me this coming month is because they are going to have too much fun and they don't want it spoiled for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I've shown you a great Bond movie. You're going to show me a great Bond movie, right?
Deal.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well.
That was one of those cold chills. I don't know what that was all about. That's strange. I will say.
You've just got a quantum of chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only a quantum.
What's your rating, Sam? What's your rating for You Only Live Twice, and you only get to rate this one once?
Oh, okay. I've got a number in my head, and I don't know what it's based on, but I've got it.
It's there.
It's what I feel. You know, it's what I feel.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go for it.
Okay.
You Only Live Twice. 4 star wipes.
You heard it here first. Ba-da-da-ba-da.
Oh, thanks for listening to another episode of Cinema Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, edited by me, Sam, and I also did the music. If you want to support the show, then patreon.com/Cinema Swirl is the way to go. If you want to follow us on the socials, we're at Cinema Swirl on Twitter and facebook.com/Cinema Swirl on Facebook, which is where our votes for episodes take place. If you've got questions, queries, comments, or anything else for the mailbag, then send it on over to cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Please do keep recommending the show to your friends if you think they'll like it, or even if you don't think they'll like it, just recommend it anyway. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.
only eat pie. You only eat millennium.